six friends jump into the deep ocean for a swim. When they're ready to get back on board, they realize the yacht ladder was never lowered. The ladder can only be opened from the inside. The smooth hull offers absolutely nothing to grab onto. Panic sets in immediately. Out here in the middle of the open ocean, they could be attacked by sharks at any moment. To make things worse, Amy's baby is alone in the cabin with no one to watch her. Dan, the owner of the yacht, tries to use an inflatable dolphin float to climb back up. But before he can even get a grip, he slips and crashes back into the water, and the float deflates on impact. Next, they try grabbing onto a flag to pull themselves up, but it can't hold a person's weight. It snaps clean off. Every minute that passes brings them closer to the edge. Some of them are already struggling to stay afloat, and they still have no way out. They turn on Dan, demanding to know if there's any other way back onto his boat. After all, it's his yacht, but Dan admits he only bought it recently and doesn't really know all the features. The group starts laying into him. Not only did he forget to lower the ladder, he also pressured Amy into the water, even though she's terrified of swimming. And now there's not a single person left on board to open the ladder from the inside. Suddenly, they hear a phone ringing nearby. They swim toward the sound and find a pile of clothes half hanging out of the boat. Dan lunges upward with everything he has and yanks the clothes down into the water. They scramble to dig out the phone, but it's completely waterlogged. Morale hits rock bottom. On top of everything, Zach's leg seizes up with a brutal cramp from hours of treading water. Then, out of nowhere, another yacht appears in the distance. They wave their arms like crazy, screaming for help, but the people on the other boat just wave back, thinking it's a friendly greeting, and sail away without a second thought. Dan suddenly comes up with a plan. He tells everyone to strip off their clothes and knot them together into a makeshift rope. Dan manages to hook the rope around the yacht's railing. Everyone gets excited. Freedom feels just within reach. They're seconds away from pulling themselves back on deck, but the knotted clothes can't hold the weight, and the whole thing rips apart. Hope is crushed again. With no way to climb up from the outside, Zach clamps a knife between his teeth and dives under the hull. He's checking whether there's any hatch or opening that could get them in from below, but the hull is completely sealed. There's nothing. Running out of air, Zach starts heading back to the surface. Then the knife slips from his mouth and sinks. He dives back down to grab it, but after holding his breath for so long, he shoots back up in a panic without watching where he's going. His head slams directly into the yacht's propeller. He claws his way to the surface in agony. Blood is pouring from his ear. His life is hanging by a thread. Seeing Zach badly hurt, James explodes with rage. He grabs the knife and starts driving it into the hull, trying to pry open the ladder mechanism. Dan, horrified to see his boat being damaged, swims over to stop him. The two men grapple for the knife. In the struggle, Dan accidentally slashes James across the stomach. Blood pours into the water around them. There's no way to stop the bleeding out here in the open ocean. Within minutes, James is gone, dead from blood loss. Dan is wrecked with guilt, but then they notice Michelle has vanished. Turns out she saw the blood in the water, panicked that it would attract sharks, and swam as far away as she could. The irony? She was the weakest swimmer of the group. She exhausted herself fighting the current, and slipped silently beneath the surface. Because of Dan's recklessness and selfishness, two of his closest friends are dead. The badly wounded Zach can't hold back his fury and clocks Dan hard across the face. With nowhere left to hide, Dan finally breaks down and tells them the truth.